All right, here at the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention, back here with Coach Jason Dean, head coach Georgetown football. Good to see you, Coach. You know, you've been coming to plenty of these. Do you still enjoy coming to these? And, you know, how's your experience been so far at this year's conference?
Sure, man. Great to see you guys. Rob and Matt, it's always a pleasure working with you guys, and appreciate what you guys do for our community. Yeah, you know, the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention is, first of all, a tremendous organization, probably the best of its kind of anywhere in the nation. You know, you see other coaches come from different places to hear about our organization, and they're all envious of the leadership that we have from this organization from the top down, and just do a great job. You know, 25,000 strong coaches, you know, are a part of our organization, and every year the convention kind of signals this is the start, you know, to the grind that's fixing to happen. And, you know, been doing this. This is going into year 20 for me. This is my 20th Texas High School Coaches Association Convention. And every single year it just it brings back those little butterflies in your stomach and the excitement, you know, to what's coming.
So, Coach, what have you had a chance to do in the last couple of days here that, you know, you've enjoyed and you'll kind of take with you as you head into the fall?
Sure, you know, just getting to go and hear great speakers. You know, we get to do that on our own some when we're back at home, and getting to go to different colleges or universities or some really successful high schools, and going to hear those guys and talking with their staff, and just trying to get tidbits, you know, of information that we can bring back home and, you know, implement in our program. But obviously getting to do that all under the same roof. You know, getting to listen to Matt Rule from Baylor, and Tom Herman from Texas, and then Pete Fredenberg from Mary Hardin Baylor, and you know, local staffs as well. I just got through listening to Adam Foster, you know, one of our own.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, getting to talk at this year's convention. So just a wealth of knowledge walking around. Not only getting to go hear people talk and give a public presentation, but just walking down the aisle, you know, and seeing somebody, then all of a sudden you're sitting at a table and you're drawing X's and O's and trying to get better. I think something pretty special.
Does that give you a sense of pride to see a Georgetown coach up there talking? We had him here earlier, Coach. He was a little nervous about it. How did it go for Coach Foster?
I think you know, I think he did good. He was up there talking and getting after it, and you could tell his competitive juices got to flow. And you know, Coach Farney has been to speak at this. I got a chance to speak at it a few years ago. So Georgetown has been very well represented, you know, from our coaching staffs. Across all sports, being able to come and speak at this deal. So it's definitely a privilege.
So, Coach, let's talk a little bit. You'll get to the grind coming up pretty soon and get ready for that upcoming season that's going to be, you know, it's going to be a fun one, Coach, a lot to look forward to. You lose some offensive weapons that were, you know, when you look in the annals of Georgetown history, some of your best, you know, that the Eagles have ever seen. When you talk about the Bo Corrales of the world, he'd be in Chapel Hill. You got Chandler Herman and Incarnate Word. But when we'll kind of go position by position. Now, Cooper Bell steps in to start at quarterback, and I know Cooper, you know, we saw him on the basketball court, did some nice things there. But talk about what he did in 7-on-7, because I know, just following pretty closely over the summer, he excelled in that tournament, and you have to have a lot of confidence in Cooper coming in and having that chance to start.
Well, you know, Cooper goes back to, if you guys remember, he started the Cedar Ridge game for us, just did a tremendous job. You know, came in and threw 4 touchdowns and ran for 2 more in his only varsity start.
That's right.
You know, for us. So, I mean, Cooper did well there when given the opportunity. But I'll tell you when Cooper made the difference. Cooper made the difference from the end of football season throughout basketball season. I saw Cooper change into a different kid, matured. Just did well on the basketball floor, you know, for us. And then Cooper had a tremendous offseason. You know, Cooper, much like Chandler, the year before, worked his tail off in the offseason to be a better quarterback. And once we started spring football, that was very evident. You know, Cooper just did a great job throughout spring football. Led our team throughout the summer 7-on-7, did a great job. You know, I think we got some good players, you know, on offense. And Cooper's job is just get the ball to him, you know, and I think he did a good job of that.
And when you look in the backfield, you have a experienced return, Erik Anderson. Talk about what you'll expect from him. Kind of the most experienced guy coming back, but he gave you a lot of good carries and a lot of, you know, quality scoring last year, and you'll need him to lead the running attack.
Sure. You know, we've got we feel like Erik is going to give us a chance to be successful back there. Got another younger player that you guys really don't know yet, Roland Moreno, RJ is going to, you know, you're going to see him some back there in the backfield. Okay. Xavier Torres, another kid, but you know, Erik at splitting time, you know, complete 50-50 last year really with Cade Seal. You know, right. Erik had a big year. Erik would probably have rushed for you know, over 1,000 yards had he been the, you know, the guy all year long. So definitely looking forward to. We think we got some. You know, Erik's going to give us some experience back there, but think we got some young kids coming up that we haven't seen yet on Friday night that we think are going to be successful.
Sounds good, Coach. And before we talk about the receiving core, you'll need, you know, protecting Cooper, opening up those holes. Talk about the offensive line. You know, I was reading the Statesman articles where they go position by position, and they actually had, you know, although not a lot of experience coming back there, they gave pretty high marks for you know, what they think the Georgetown O-line can do. What do you see there?
Well, Talanzaro, you know, comes back there. We don't know yet if Talon's going to be the center or maybe a guard position for us. We'll move him around a little bit to find the best fit. But Kevin Espinoza was another kid that played a bunch as a sophomore last year on the varsity. You know, will be back for us. We've got some other kids coming that are really inexperienced on a Friday night, but they're not inexperienced as far as maturity. We've got 2 more seniors, you know, coming back on that offensive line that we feel, you know, pretty good about. So, you know, I think Talon and Kevin are definitely the anchor points, you know, of that, and then got some other kids that we're going to fill in around them that can help us be successful up front.
When Cooper's ready to throw the ball, Coach, kind of starts and ends, the star power there, Caden Leggett. We'll talk about some other receivers too, but what do you expect from Caden coming into his junior year, having had such a spectacular sophomore season out there for you?
Well, Caden's actually going to be a senior this next year. Last year was his junior year.
That's right.
But you know,
he was
Caden,
brought up as a sophomore.
Correct. Yeah. 2 years ago. But Caden, just an explosive player. You know, we got to figure out a way to get Caden the ball plenty of times, but just does great things. You know, once he gets the ball in his hands, maybe catches the football as good as anybody we've ever coached. You know, a great route runner and just a tremendous competitor.
I think I'm trying to give him an extra year, Coach.
I'll tell you what, if you can figure out a way to do it, I'll take it.
I was going to say. So Nick Crombie as well, very tall, lanky receiver we saw step up a lot of times last year. Talk about the rest of the receiving core as well.
Sure. You know, Nick coming back. You're going to see him a position change a little bit this year, running more of our H-back position for us, and then being our third wide receiver a bunch in that as well. You know, you talk about Nick being lanky. You guys haven't seen Nick this summer. Nick's probably gained 25 pounds. This summer's up to 215 to 18 pounds. Wow. You know, Nick's fit in college is going to be that special tight end / receiver. You know, moving around a bunch. Right. You know, that's going to be his fit. Nick's worked really hard during spring football and throughout the summer of getting his body in a position where he's going to be able to do that. You know, you got Cole Posey coming back, who saw a bunch of time last year on the varsity. Sure. Did a really good job for us. Got another younger JV kid moving up that'll be a junior with Noah Drum, another quality receiver. Dylan Cahill coming up from the JV team will spot time, and you'll see him in the lineup a bunch.
So familiar name?
Oh, yeah. So we think we've got some good receivers, you know, coming back and ready to help us.
So offensively, you're set there. Now we look at the other side of the ball. Kind of starts and ends with Brandon Hawkins. Sure. You know, the Boise State commit, getting a lot of looks coming into. What do you expect? He's got to be all over the field for you. We saw that last year, but as he enters his senior year, he's got to be the leader kind of out there. You've got some other linebacker experience, but what do you expect from Brandon?
Sure. You know, you said it starts and ends with Brandon. I'll even take that a step further, saying it starts and ends with our linebacking core. Yeah. When you got a returning Mike linebacker and Kyle Urbanowski, a returning Sam linebacker, and Drew Barfield, and then Brandon, you know, able to do what he does. Brandon's probably what was so great about Brandon is his flexibility. You know, Brandon can run. He played corner, you know, his whole sophomore year. He can cover when they need him to cover. He's probably our best blitzer off the edge. Brandon just does a bunch of different stuff to help us be successful on defense. But that linebacking core is going to be huge. You know, with Kyle and Drew Barfield, those guys are going to, you know, be a big part of what we're doing. And then you get back to the secondary and you talk about Tracy Lambert coming back. You talk about Paul Salcedo coming back that was able to start all 11 games for us. Right. You know, last year we think we've got some other good experience coming in with a move in Devin Gray. Eli Gray,
Okay.
and then another one, a young one, Gage Leggett,
Yeah.
coming back, in the secondary.
The
So
bloodlines are strong.
yeah,
right?
we think we've got some good coverage there in the back end. So the big deal defensively is going to be our defensive line. AJ Garcia comes back as really the only returning varsity defensive lineman with any type of experience there, but AJ got a lot of reps, so he'll be a big factor there. Got some other younger kids coming up. One name that you guys will recognize, Tyler Solomon, made the move from our H-back position on offense to over at defensive line and just had a tremendous spring football for him. Meyer coming in the defensive line is going to be a big deal for us. So we've got options, there in the defensive line, but it's not battle tested yet.
Yeah.
So if those guys can keep pressure off our linebackers and let our linebackers do what they do, I think our chances of being good on defense are going to be really good.
Would you consider definitely the linebacking kind of the strength, the core right now? I mean, just so much experience coming back. We saw Urbo get, big interceptions last year. We know what Brandon can do, and Barfield there as well. I mean, those guys have a ton of experience.
Yeah, if we can just get Coach Patterson to leave them alone and get out of their way and not screw them up, we're going to be in good shape.
So, Coach, also let's talk about on the coaching staff. You just talked about doing some interviews for a coach for the younger kids, but some shifting on the varsity staff. Can you talk about it a little bit? Some
Sure.
departures, some arrivals. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, lost long-time great coach, our offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, Chuck Griffin. Chuck made a big-time career move for him, moving and being the assistant athletic director in Abilene.
Right.
Phil Blue, a longtime Georgetown native, hired him to come back just because he knew what kind of quality of person, Chuck was and what he was going to get. So, lost Chuck and able to do that. We're able to move up. Ricky Beatty, who was our wide receivers coach this last year. Ricky played college quarterback, on scholarship. Ricky's got a lot of knowledge there. He's going to move over and take over our quarterback position.
Okay.
And be our play caller. And then we hired a guy from Vandergrift High School, Scott Dunovant. Scott's going to come over and be a co-offensive coordinator, really in charge of our passing game,
Okay.
And coach wide receivers for us. Excited about getting him on staff. Again, a coach with lots and lots of knowledge, has coached on the college level. Defensively, lost a longtime crowd favorite, Tim Nickey.
Yeah.
Tim just did a tremendous job with his enthusiasm and his knowledge in the defensive line. Tim made a career move, and went back home to
Yep.
Cedar Park, where he graduated from. So,
Sure.
we're able to move up. Chris Staten is going to take over that defensive line spot. Chris was on our staff last year and really kind of mirrored Tim, and Tim was able to mentor him for a year, and really feel like looking forward to what Chris brings to the table. And then we got some other small changes on our freshman staff.
Younger, yeah.
That are going to be younger coaches that
Right.
are moving in. Another great one that we feel like we really benefited from. Vince Hawkins, who's coached our corners for the last 3 years, has moved up into administration. There at Georgetown High School, going to be an assistant principal.
Okay.
And we're able to hire Jeffrey Thompson, who has been the defensive coordinator at Stephenville for a long time. And Jeffrey was able to kind of make a family move and come to Georgetown to be our corners coach. So really feel good about him too.
So you said co-OCs? Is that the situation?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think people would expect, fans would expect there won't be a huge difference in what we've seen in the past, right? But maybe a little different wrinkle.
Yeah, maybe if we're not looking to do things a better way, all the time, I think you can become stagnant.
Right.
And I certainly don't feel like our offense is stagnant anyway. I mean, it's very
Not by any
explosive
means.
and the best in our district. I hope.
Right.
And feel really good about it. But anytime you can bring some new ideas and some new wrinkles into the mix, we feel good about that.
So schedule-wise, Coach, I was talking to Coach Patterson about this. We'll start in Waco. We won't be back at Baylor, but we'll be playing Brewer again. Then
Right.
we've got Hayes, the third non-district game.
Well, they're just two because
Okay.
we're in a 9-team district.
That's right.
Yeah, in a 9-team district, we'll.
I was trying to create a third game there too.
You hit the nail on the head there. You open with Brewer, then we play Hayes on a Thursday night,
and then it's district.
and then it's district play. Opening with Hutto, who I think is going to be a force.
Yeah.
In our district. I think those guys were really, really young last year. Come back with a lot of experience, a very hungry team.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be a force to be reckoned with in our district.
When you look at District 19-5A, Coach, and you look at all the magazines, they do their prognostications. They've got Hutto up there, they got you up there. Cedar Park, obviously, but year in and year out, 19-5A, I mean, it's quality pretty much top to bottom, right?
It is. It'll be tough, every single week, which is good for us. If you can survive that meat grinder,
right.
And then get into a postseason play, anything can happen, there.
Right. You expect how you expect that to come out? Cedar Park, obviously, kind of always the benchmark, but
sure,
you guys should be right there, I would think.
I hope so. I hope we're competing, for a district championship. But the goal has to be, even before that, is to qualify for the playoffs. That's when you get to do something special. So if we can get that done and then compete well enough to play for a district championship, obviously that's the second goal of mine.
And so you've been doing this a while now, Coach, but this is the time you really start to get excited, where the convention starts to signal that, what are we, like 30-something days away from game one?
Yeah, every day is getting closer.
Yeah, so, okay, well, we will say, Coach, thanks for stopping by here at the convention, and it's been our honor and pleasure to be with you guys for 2 years, going into our third year. We just talked, and we'll have the Coaches Show again. It was extremely popular on Wednesday nights, and we'll have that again this fall. But we wish you the best of luck. We know that it's time to get to the grind now, so it's time to start earning those big bucks. But we'll see you in the fall, and we can't wait for it, Coach.
Yeah, man, we're excited. Again, thank you guys and SHN for all y'all do for us, not only for our kids but for our community. You guys are bringing something really neat, to the table. So we appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Coach.